Got to move that computer so you can see more of Coach Jeff Brohm. Welcome back, segment 2, Gold and Black Live. Yes, Coach Jeff Brohm and Kyle Charters joins us. And Coach, thanks for taking the time. This is a time of year where you have absolutely nothing going on. So it's a middle of spring football practice, and the Boilermakers are not quite 2/3 of the way through. What practice number?
They are 2/3.
They are 2/3. I guess it's 10 out of 15, then that would be 2/3. Welcome to the show, and we're glad you're here. A lot going on there. One of the first part, and a very important part of this, is also the coach's honorary chair to the Purdue Challenge, which is a big event next Saturday, the day of the spring game. The spring game's at 1 o'clock, but on that morning, 8:30, will be part of the Purdue Challenge, and there's the poster. But you ever been an honorary chair for an event like this in your career yet?
You know what, a few times, but this is a great cause, and I think that hopefully we're looking forward to a good turnout, and hopefully the weather's good and people enjoy it, because it definitely is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, it really is. Our numbers now over 1,000. We hope to get to about where we were last year at 1,700. It's usually a rush to the end. There's what you'll be looking at next week or next Saturday when you're giving your fire-up speech to all those runners and walkers. I know you're going to spend hours getting ready for that, but it's a big event, and it's really great. You know, your team's going to be involved to some extent. That's an important part too.
Well, the community is important, and just by looking at that crowd there, I think that people understand that there's a lot of important things in this world that we want to try to help with, and hopefully we can get that turnout for our games as well.
Yeah,
but
that's the idea.
To get it at the challenge will be tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's bikers, and there's Eric Props, kind of a friend of the show, and a Cranert School administrator, and we have all kinds of folks that are part. It's really a great event. Early sign up. You can sign up all the way to Friday afternoon, April the 7th, but there's a early registration discount, and you can do that through Saturday. Go to thepurduechallenge.com. They'll be happy to take your order, and also fundraising as well. Fundraising going very, very well. Got team kicking it together with Coach. I call her Coach. Lou Ann Blau, David Blau's mom, has been spearheading that group. Coaches' wives, coaches. It's a family affair, and I think over time you'll get to really enjoy this event, Coach, and it's a big one. But let's talk some spring football.
First of all, you give some pretty good pregame speeches.
Yeah.
What are you going to like street fight on the pavement here? What are you?
I don't know if they need me to do all that. Sometimes I've got to get some juice going to really get that to happen. But you know what? It will be great to see everybody out there, and I think that it'll be a lot of fun as well, and people will enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, obviously next week you've been through 10 practices so far. It's a transition for you, just being here and getting in all these new names and faces, and installing what you want to install. Your impression, and it's probably no way that you can give a succinct answer to that, but how have things gone from your perspective so far?
Well, I think it is a work in progress, but you know what? I've been happy with the effort. I think our guys are hungry to get better. They understand the hard work it's going to take to become a very good football team. We've got a lot of players that don't have a lot of experience that we have to somehow manage to throw them in the fire as much as we can so that they are game ready once we get there. But there's still a lot left. You know, we got 5 practices left, and then we're going to have to utilize the summer period very effectively and make sure we really are dialed in with healthy guys come fall camp as well, and we're getting those guys plenty of reps. But we have plenty of work to do, but the attitude is good. The 1-2 is there. The desire to be great is there, and that's all you can ask for. So we've just got to stick with it, continue to work extremely hard, not get frustrated when things don't happen as good as we like, and just keep chugging along.
Yeah. There are often times, I think, that a team looks different in the spring than what it turns out to look in the fall. Will this be one of the more glaring times that you think that could be true, especially on offense? You have a lot of guys coming in during the summer that could contribute offensively for you, a couple of JUCO receivers, maybe some offensive linemen. Could you look pretty different from a personnel point of view in the fall than you do right now?
Well, without question, that could happen. I think that you know, the guys we have here and that are healthy, we've got to just continue to rep them and get them ready to
Yeah.
play. And if we have to go to bat with those guys, we got to find a way to make it work. You know, there are some key guys injured that will be back after spring ball that have to be a key factor in order to for us to win and our success. And there are some late enrollees that will be here as well, whether it's a junior college a guy that we have coming, or even graduate transfers that could be here. All those guys could play a factor, and normally if they're coming in, hopefully they're coming in to compete to play. And you know, we have to do as good a job as we can to make sure that when they get here, we have a detailed and mapped out plan ready so that they are thrown in the fire, and we're going to gauge and see where they're at, but we're hopeful that some of those guys can contribute.
You know, coaches always say, or at least some coaches have said, you don't want to have to coach effort in terms of that. How much of that has been you know, instilling the style of, you know, getting after it, and has that been a factor early on of just saying we need more effort out of you guys, or have you been pleased pretty much with what you've seen to this date?
You know what I've liked? I've liked our effort. I think that the conditioning needs to get better,
Yeah.
but we're working hard at it. I think we've got to continue to practice hard, practice fast, get in a lot of repetitions. We want to coach on the field, but also in the classroom, and make sure we're not slowing things down too much and challenging our guys with a lot of different things that come up each and every practice. I think it's important that you get your drills in and that you get better, but also you simulate the game of football. And it's important with young guys, quarterback position, but even all the positions, you simulate the speed of the game of football. You're running 11 on 11. You're putting your guys in a bunch of different situations. You're giving them a lot of different looks. You're pressing them to think fast and to quick recall the knowledge of what they've been studying and gotten better on each and every week. But it's important that we just keep doing that as much as we can and learn from it and get better, and whoever's in there has to be able to step up and be productive.
Is there anybody out there who you didn't necessarily see on film before spring when you were, you know, looking back at stuff, who you've seen over these 10 practices and say, how, you know, this kid looks better than maybe what we had anticipated him?
Well, you know what? There's some spots that I've been encouraged by. I think the running backs that have practiced for us have done a very good job. I think they all give us a different little element. Do they have things they need to get better on? Yes, but they have some ability that we can work with. I think a couple of our tight ends can be very, very good tight ends and be a factor for us throughout the game. I think the quarterback position is battling, and it's been competitive, and I think that they've continued to improve. So I'm happy with the progress we've made there. And, you know, there's a couple linemen on the offensive side of the ball that have stood out that maybe haven't played a lot, that I think once they get a chance to shine will do a good job. And on the defense side of the ball, I think there's probably a little more experience. We've got some linebackers that I really think are good players, and that'll do a great job for us and have to be the leaders for us. A couple experienced guys in the secondary and a few guys up front that have done a good job. Now, we'd like to have more numbers and backups to, you know, give those guys a rest, but that's what we're working on now, is getting those guys opportunities to compete and to be put under the fire, and hopefully they just continue to progress.
Now, last night you joked, although I think you were half serious about running the veer. You might do it or no?
Well, you know what? One thing we like to do is we want to try to score points.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
everybody, including myself, wants to throw it around and have fun with it, and we want to continue to do that. But when it's all said and done, and after you've kind of looked at your guys, you got to say, okay, what can we do well, and how do we make sure that these certain guys get enough touches? And right now, the running back position probably deserves the most touches. So you never know what could happen.
I still don't know whether he's joking or not.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to tell you. I like that notion, though, because, you know, anytime you go into a new situation, and you're well known for your passing attack, and it's been your pedigree since you were a little kid, is adaptability. You know, as you get older and more experienced as a coach, that's got to be something that you got to look at least, and I'm not just saying the veer, I'm just saying things in general, that becomes a bigger part of coaching, is you got to dance with what you have also.
Well, it's very important. I think I've been fortunate enough to be on a lot of teams as a player, and when you go into a game and you're being coached extremely well, you have a good sense you got a chance to win. And I've been on some teams where you go into a game and you're trying to believe that you can win,
Right.
but really there's not that belief. You just don't feel it. So it's up to us as coaches to make sure that when our guys take the field, we're going to do enough things to challenge the defense and to do things, even on both sides of the ball, to put us in a position to win. And, you know, on offense, the job is to get the ball into your playmakers' hands. So, yeah, we're going to have to be creative with it possibly and make sure that at least every game we go into it, we're doing our part and making sure we're at least somewhat creative, but finding a way to make sure guys get the ball in their hands enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it's the good thing for you, Coach, is you get the first 4 weeks of the season, it's just a walk in the park. 3 championship level teams, and you know, in Louisville, I don't think they won their league, but they were extremely good. Ohio University.
They didn't win their league, so they're fine.
Yeah,
No big deal.
and that team called Michigan, and we're not going to overlook Missouri, but does that, and I know you're a long way away from getting to even looking at that, but does that change your preparation, or at least your mindset, as you look at even in spring ball, or are you just in base camp right now trying to figure out what's next for you?
Well, right now, as far as with our team, we haven't looked to any of those teams,
Understood.
and we're just trying to get better, and there's a lot of work to do. But, you know what, in general, I think when you start the season against a very good football team, you know the first half of your schedule is very challenging. Yes, you've got to make sure you're ready to go. And, you know, we've got a lot of work on our plate in order to get to where we need to be. You know, not till you're thrown out on the field against a good opponent where you know exactly where you stand, but we'll be able to know the first game where we stand. And,
Might be the first series.
Yes, and we're
good.
hopeful that we can compete in that game
Yeah.
and go from there. But you learn a lot, and I think the one thing we will try to do once we get to the game season is we truly treat it as a one-game season, and we're truly going to focus on one, try to find a way to win, whatever that is, put ourselves in the best position to succeed, and then go for it. And if it doesn't work, or if it does work, we got to move on to the next one. And I think, like you said, we'll learn a lot early on in the season of where we're at, what we need to do, and how we need to fix it.
Yeah, you'll get feedback from the other team. That's a good thing.
Just watching your practices, you know, we notice tempo. You run a lot of team periods. It seems like more team than almost individual. I'm not sure exactly how that divvies up, but I guess what's your philosophy to practice and sort of how you divide your time between individual drills with guys and getting out there and playing 11 on 11?
Well, we definitely spend a quality amount of time doing individual, and that's normally about the first 30 to 45 minutes of practice where we're making sure we're doing certain drills to make sure technique-wise and fundamentally we're on the right page and that we're working hard at it. And then after that, you really got to play the game of football, and I think it's important to do that. And really every team segment is a little bit different, whether you're working on just third downs, whether you're working on the red zone, whether for us sometimes we just work on team pass where it's what most teams would do 7-on-7 or skelly, which is all great and looks good, but I've been around a lot of teams that are good at that and quarterbacks that are, and as soon as you get them a team saying they can't function.
Right.
So we kind of combine those things at times, and we add a pass rush in front of the quarterback's face and to make him do things game-like. So really, we do want to simulate the game as much as we can. Now, it's not always live tackle because we're low on bodies, and you got to make sure certain guys stay healthy, but it's close to it.
Yeah.
And it's a full-speed pass rush. Everything's full speed. We're not taking guys all the way to the ground, but normally some are going to go to the ground anyway, and it'll get physical, and that's what you want. But I really think that a lot of players in a classroom can understand what they're doing. Maybe when you're going through drill, they understand what you're doing, but when you put them in a team setting and things are thrown at them and you're getting different looks and the guy's lined up here where normally he's here and certain coverages you have to see, all those things you have to just rep and rep and rep. And I think once those guys do it enough and they feel comfortable, then they can really recall things quicker, and they can adjust on the fly, and they can, it doesn't overwhelm them, the speed of it. So we're just trying to simulate the speed of the game throughout 3/4 of practice.
Got a couple guys on that defense, so you got to sort of remind occasionally to back off just a hair. That's not always a bad thing, though, right? I mean, TJ Jallo from our friends down there at Last Chance U, he's brought an attitude to your defense a little.
Well, you know what? Even though I have a offensive background, I am the head coach, and you know what? I try to be defensive friendly. So yes, I'm a little lenient as far as some extracurricular hitting that's going on, and you know, I want them to get better and feel comfortable and confident that they're not scared to hit somebody. So you know, you want the physicality of the practice. You just kind of want to make sure it stays clean for the most part. There's no cheap shots, and that you try to keep things between the whistle. But you know what? I do want competitors. I do want fighters. I do want guys that like contact, that aren't afraid to hit people. So you want to make sure that you don't ring that in too much.
Yeah. He seems to have had a pretty good spring, Jallo.
Well, you know what? He obviously he's a good hitter. He can tackle, he can strike, and those things are hard to teach. So he's got that in him. I think he's got good range. You know, he's trying to get an understanding of what we're doing and where he fits in. That's coming. But as far as ability and ability to tackle and hit and strike, he's got it.
Yeah. One of the things too, you notice, not only you have to get used to new players, you have some coaches that you obviously knew many, but some of them putting them all together as a unit is an experience. Is this group as a unit? I mean, they're not all like Jamarcus Shepard, who's a once in a lifetime guy in terms of energy, I think. But what's your staff meetings like? I mean, in terms of the give and take. I mean, you know, you guys put a ton of hours in. Are you a little bit of do you try to keep it light and then get down to work? What's the makeup of this staff kind of as a group, do you think, at this point?
Well, I feel great about our staff and our group. I think we've got extremely knowledgeable coaches. A lot of them have played the position at a high level, and I mean a high level. So they kind of understand, yes, this is how it works on the chalkboard and in the playbook, but this is really how it works on the field. And that's important because it is a little bit different. I think that, secondly, they're all great people. They relate well with the players. We're able to coach them hard, but yet be there for them as well, encourage them, be there for them off the field, make sure that everything is going well with them, you know, in the classroom and beyond that. I think that, yes, we want to make it fun. I think it's important that, you know, as a former player, you don't want to dread coming over to the building every day and being scared of, oh, geez, got to hear all the negative things and bad things I did. So we want to be positive. We want to have smiles on our face. We want to have some energy. We want to have fun with it. Do you have to be intense at times and get after it? Yes, but I think all of us understand on the field we've got to be pushed, and there's got to be enough of that going on. But no, we've got guys on the staff that really care about winning. They understand the challenge ahead of us. They're willing to put in the work. They've been working hard at recruiting and making sure that we continue to try to get the team better each and every day, and that's all been positive, and I've been very, very happy with the work they've put in.
You have a scrimmage on Saturday, right? What sort of things are you looking for on Saturday, a week before the spring game then next week?
Well, I think that as coaches during practice, we're on the field a lot, and I think it's important to get off the field and to let these guys react and think quickly and make their own mistakes if they make them, but do it in a game situation. And that's what you're trying to see, is you're trying to test them, see what they do know and don't know, what we may have to continue to work on or stress a little bit more. But the ability to move the ball and understand certain situations and where you're at on the field and the down and distance, and sometimes you may have to tighten things up, sometimes you're a little farther off, but all those little things are important. And I've been on numerous teams where we've gotten beat just because we didn't get lined up properly. We didn't get lined up fast enough. We didn't know the exact down and distance and gave up a third and short and too much cushion. We were too tight when it's been third and long. So all those game situations, you try to put them in as much as you can without us telling them what to do on the field, us on the sideline. And that's the most important thing.
That'll be 10 o'clock on the scrimmage on Saturday morning. And you've had, your practice have been open to the public. You've had some fans come in as part of that. And obviously the spring game On the 8th, we'll have, at 1 o'clock will be a fan-friendly event as well. Recruiting never stops, and you're trying to get a toehold in terms of that. Tell us about how that's gone, and you're obviously looking now down the barrel at 2018, but trying to make inroads. What's been the response from you? You know, we are seeing a lot of activity, but how's it been for you?
Well, I think it's been outstanding. I think we've gotten out in the state as much as we can. We've gotten around to see coaches. We've been on the phone. We've gotten recruits to come to campus and see what we're about, and we're out there. And I think that's what we've got to make sure that we do. Are we the top of choice for everybody that we want to? No. But we've got to earn that to a certain degree. We've got to put in the time. We've got to not only develop a relationship and earn their trust, but when it's all said and done, we need to win some football games. And I think if we're doing all those things and making improvements on the field, it's going to gradually help, and you're going to start to win some of those battles that maybe haven't been won before. And it can be a domino effect, and the next year hopefully is better, the next year is better, and you just try to get as many difference makers as you can, recruit the state hard in the surrounding area, make sure that we don't overlook or bypass anyone within a certain distance, and that we're on top of that, and at least give those guys a chance to say no to us. But, you know, it's been fun. That part, there's a lot of work to it, but that's what you got to do. And I think that it's important that we not only get that done, but we show these guys, if they come to practice, how we coach. We show those guys when they get here in the summer. We can get them at a camp of ours, what we can do with them when we have our hands on them. And then we show them during the season that, hey, it is going to pay off, and yes, you can win here, and yes, you can have a chance to win a Big Ten championship.
Time for a couple more, but go ahead.
You've had a few guys in just about every practice, it seems like. When they come in and are able to watch a little bit of practice, what kind of things do you try and, stress with them if you get a couple of minutes to talk or show them something?
Well, it's great when we get them on campus. I think that our university does a great job of selling itself, the academics, the reputation we have. We're able to show them around campus once they get here, and get them around our academics and get them around our coaches and show them what we have in store, the new performance center we're building, all the positives to our program. And then a lot of times they can be around our players a little bit and watch us practice and see how we go about things, and compare that to some of the other schools we're looking at. And I tell our guys all the time, hey, we're not here to deceive you or trick you into coming here. We want to earn that right. But I think if you really look at us and what we think we can do and how we can help develop you as a student, as an athlete, as a citizen, I think we can put you in a great position to have success beyond college and to give you a chance to fulfill your dreams and goals.
Last question is a basketball question. You were obviously front and center for Purdue, Vermont in the NCAA, but what, you're getting to know this fan base and who the fans are. You watched the Purdue men's basketball team have a very good season. What did you learn by watching Matt's team run around in terms of what some potential is for fan enthusiasm?
Well, you know what? It was a lot of fun to watch. I congratulate them on a great year. They had some tremendous games and some really good players on the team, and they found a way to be productive and to get to the Sweet 16. And I think that the fans come out, and I think they want to see a competitive team. They want to see a team that's competing for a championship, and that they're fighting and finding a way to win. And I think if we can get back to that, hopefully they'll come out and watch us. But that's the great part about it, is we have a ways to improve and a ways to go. But you know what? I think it can be done, and it's going to have to be by not skipping any step. But I do think that if we can get it going here, they'll come out, and if we can make it fun to watch and win some games, everybody can have fun with it. And that's really what it's all about, is getting people in the stands, getting them back to their alma mater or to their hometown, and seeing a good product and having fun with it.
Okay, the hardest question you're going to get all day, I just thought of it. If you had number 50, Caleb Swanigan, in football, where would you play him?
Well, you know what
And he may, who knows, he might decide to give up on the NBA.
You know, since you brought it up, we've sat in staff meetings and talked about a few guys on that basketball team that we'd like to have.
Haas wouldn't be bad either.
No, they could be productive a lot of areas for us. But You know what?
Is he a tackle?
You know what? You would never tell him that because they never want to hear tackle. They want to
Yeah.
hear tight end.
I know, I hear you.
They want the ball in their hand. They want to score points, and you know, we would tell them that. You know, we had a gentleman at Western Kentucky that came to us off the basketball team, and his rookie year, he started at left tackle for the Seahawks all
Yeah.
year. So it can be done, but
Yeah.
he wanted to hear tight end at first as well.
I'm going to guess
There you
that's
go.
the case. But, yeah, there's some guys in that team. Though Carson Edwards would be an interesting little
Yes.
slot receiver. If not, I don't think any of that's happening, but it's fun to talk about. Coach, thanks so much for your time. We will look forward to, and we encourage all of you to sign up at thepurduechallenge.com. You'll get a chance to see the coach, and not only Purdue football players will be in attendance, but it's really a great event because all of Purdue athletics is kind of on. It's kind of a festival of student athletes that morning, bright and early. 8:30 is the race on April the 8th. Early registrations, discounts still through tomorrow, and we're trying to build as much momentum as we can for a great cause, and that is to raise money for the Center for Cancer Research at Purdue. So, Coach, thanks again
Thank
so
you very
much.
much. Thank you.
Have a great rest of practice. We'll look forward to watching this weekend and next. And Kyle and Stacy will be there every day to watch them as we get the opportunity to cover this football team. All right, we're going to take a short break and have Kyle or Brian join us to kind of rehash what's going on with football and basketball and look ahead to next week. Our special guest, Mike Babinski, will join us as well. That will be interesting, too. So take a 2-minute break. We'll be back on Gold and Black Live.